means, because the website behind that report is indeed Guido Fawkes, and Max Young is a reporter there. They were first to break this story. Max, what on earth is going on?
Well, I have to say it was incredibly bizarre and quite hilarious writing up this story, because the Chancellor changes her LinkedIn after essentially misrepresenting her career. I mean, it beggars belief, doesn't it? She said in her Mansion House speech last night that she worked as an economist at the Bank of England, and then she just said, and then in financial services afterwards. So I thought, well, that's funny, because we reported last month that she actually didn't work as an economist there at all, which she had claimed in her LinkedIn, as your viewers can see. But she was actually running with two other people a small administrative complaints department that also dealt with IT matters and that sort of thing. So very far from the economics team. And so I listened to the speech and I checked the LinkedIn again. I've been checking it sort of periodically, and gone is the Economist title. Now it's just retail banking. They've actually gone in and changed it. I don't know if she has herself, perhaps one of her team has, probably, unless she's been doing some sort of late night updates to her online profile. And that. It's pretty extraordinary, really.
Max, we should make clear that she actually was an economist at the Bank of England. That is not in doubt. It's just what job, particular role she held at the bank. But just to take a slightly different point of view here, whatever her role was at that bank, is it not the case that politicians now are under so much scrutiny that even something as potentially innocuous as this, let's see how it plays out, is noticed by a website within hours of it changing, and it's become headline news? It's very difficult to see how people can come into politics now having something in their background that they might need to...
They could just be truthful on their CVs.
Well, you don't... Indeed, we don't know...
That's an interesting point, Miriam, and I know, as an ex-politician yourself, you've probably been under quite a lot of public scrutiny. I'd say it fills me with hope that the people who misrepresent themselves aren't allowed to get away with it, and that there are some who will be watching to see if this sort of stuff tries to get swept under the rug, which it has. There wasn't any public update that the LinkedIn was changed. So I think it's of course a good thing. I mean, we need to be truthful. If you don't want to be caught misrepresenting yourself, then just tell the full and complete truth in the first place, would be my advice to aspiring politicians who shouldn't be dissuaded by this. They should be buoyed.
But I suppose this gets to the point of the Chancellor, who has presided over a fairly controversial budget that raised taxes, that increased borrowing, that meant that mortgage rates are expected now to be higher than they otherwise would have been, and all the rest of it. It seems that she may well have been exaggerating her private sector experience. This
is, of course, the other thing to say, right, is that... it was previously the impression that for the entirety of the noughties she was working as an economist, whereas it now has been updated. She's clarified that for only half of the noughties she was working as an economist, so half of that experience is wiped out in one fell swoop. And she talks up her economic credentials the whole time. She always mentions her time at the Bank of England. She doesn't mention her time at HBOS too much. I think we now know why. So I think it probably does damage her credibility that approximately half of the time she hasn't been doing anything to do with economics at all.
Do you think, in terms of the timing, why it was changed now, do you think she's had a tip-off that somebody is looking in more detail at her past career? What would trigger this change?
Well, we did a story towards the end of October. I think it was about a week and a half before the budget on this, because she said economists on her LinkedIn. We spoke to several sources who are familiar with Reeves during her time at HBOS, who helpfully clarified to us her actual position. And we accused her at the time of misrepresenting her CV on LinkedIn. And it looks like, well, my guess would be that someone in the Treasury team has waited a bit for it to die down, thought they could probably get away with changing it 3 weeks later, and that no one would notice, which has unfortunately not transpired in the end.
Well, Max Young, reporter at Guido Fawkes, appreciate your time on